Yo, up guys, it's your boy Chris Leafler. Welcome back to another video, and today we'll be talking about the NBA trade deadline predictions. This is one day, exactly 24 hours before it ends. I'm going to be going over every player I think is going to be traded, and what team I think they're going to be traded to. Let's get into it. Some predictions have already happened. I made this list yesterday, but I was unable to film until today. So, two of them that I predicted was the Harden-Garland trade. There had been murmurs about it all day yesterday, and Harden wanted to be paid. Clippers didn't want to pay him, and he wanted to go to a winning team. And the Cavaliers clearly didn't want Garland. He's getting paid the same amount as Harden. Harden's a better player, in my opinion. He's a more efficient scorer. He's a better scorer. He's a better passer, and he rebounds better. Garland is a good player. He's younger, and he's constantly injured. He's been having a nagging toe injury for the last year and a half. And I think this is going to be a trade that we have to wait till find out who actually wins this. Obviously, the Clippers have their point guard of the future with Garland, because Garland is 27 years old, and it's kind of a win now move for the Cavs to relieve some pressure from Donovan Mitchell, and Harden to get some more pay. He's probably going to re-sign with the Cavs, and I feel like this does make the Cavs a better team. Anyways, moving on. Jaren Jackson Jr., one of the most shocking trades I went on today. I was not expecting him to be traded today. As soon as he was confirmed to be traded, as soon as the Ja Morant trade started ramping up, I did think I did think JJJ was going to be traded. There's no reason to keep him if Ja's going to be moved. You should trade him, get assets for the rebuild. And that's exactly what they did. I mean, they did not get as much as I expected. They got more picks in the Desmond Bane trade than they did in this trade. They did get a few first-round picks players like Walter Clayton Jr. and Tyler Hendricks. They also got Kyle Anderson and George Niang. But this was shocking, and it's sad to see that Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to go on like an actual shit team. Well, the Jazz isn't as bad as it used to be, but they are in a rebuild, and it is sad because Jaren Jackson Jr. is a good player. He can't catch a ball, but he is a good player. His offensive game is obviously getting much, much better, and his defensive player, and as a defensive player, we already know how good he is. He was Depoy, and now that he's not going to be a 5, he's going to have a much better time roaming and a much easier time to defend. Alright, moving on to the predictions that have not happened yet. I believe Sabonis is going to the Raptors. This is another, and I also believe RJ is going to be in that trade and probably end up in the Kings. Sabonis has been heavily rumored to be going to the Raptors. We need a good center. We play a lot of small ball, and Jakob Poeltl is constantly injured and is on a terrible contract and is a pretty bad basketball player. Sabonis isn't much better as a defender. Actually, he's probably a lot worse as a defender. We have a bunch of good defensive guards, and we have Colin Murray Boyles, but he rebounds well, he passes well, and he's a good scorer, which is something we need. The sad thing about this trade is that we're losing one of our best scorers, because we don't really have anyone that scores too good. We have B.I., obviously, who's our best scorer. Then we probably have R.J. Barrett as our best scorer. But his contract is massive. We need to get off of it, regardless of the shooting or not. And I think we can get rid of him for Domantas Sabonis. And that's how I think we end up with him. And I think this happens probably tomorrow, because I'm filming this at 4 a.m. I previously filmed this earlier, but I had no audio. So I think this happens tomorrow, and I think RJ Barrett is going to be a new king, and I think we finally get a good center. Moving on. Rob Dillingham traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. He's a failed project. He's not being good. He's too frail. He's not a good shooter. He's not a good defender. He's not a good passer. He's not really good at anything. Bones Hyland has taken his minutes completely. He's kind of not playing at all anymore. And I think Milwaukee is going to be looking for a lot of young players in the Giannis trade. And I think Rob Dillingham could be a project player for them. And I think he could be a player of their future. I do think Rob Dillingham has a future in the NBA. Now he's not doing well. And he's getting paid a good amount of money. He was an 8th pick in the first round, I believe, when he was drafted. And he's being paid a couple $1 million. And I don't think the Timberwolves want to pay that. I think they want to shed money. They shed Mike Conley's money earlier, and I think he's going to end up in the Milwaukee Bucks as a part of a Giannis deal. Dorian Finney-Smith to the Chicago Bulls. There has been a lot of trade talks between the Chicago Bulls and the Houston Rockets, and I think Dorian Finney-Smith is having a down year. He's not as good of a defender as he was a couple years ago. He's not hitting his three ball, and he's just having a down year. And I think the Rockets given up on him, and I think he's not really in the rotation as much anymore. I think they're going to trade him to the Chicago Bulls, and I think they're going to probably get a few players back, much better shooters, because the Rockets are a contender. They just need shooting, because right now 38-year-old Kevin Durant shouldn't be the one and only option that if he leaves the court, you lose a 12-point lead constantly. So I think DFS ends up as a Chicago Bull by Thursday. Lonzo Ball gets traded to the Charlotte Hornets. I think this is almost a guarantee. Not that he goes to the Hornets, but he does get traded. We traded for him in the offseason. We needed a defender and we needed a good three-point shooter. And he's been shit at both. His three-point percentage has dropped dramatically this year. He's hitting maybe 1 every 5 games. It's tremendously terrible. He's lost almost all of his minutes. He's pretty much just a garbage time player. And I think we want to shed his contract. I think he's getting paid a few $1 million. He's not a good replacement for Ty Jerome. He's not even that good of a passer. And I think we want to shed his contract to try and get better players throughout the season or throughout the off-season and the current deadline. And I think it's a good spot for him to end up in Charlotte because obviously his brother plays there. They could use his defense, and if they're able to get back his three-point shooting, they could really use that on top of the other 15 great three-point shooters on that team. I think he ends up as a Charlotte Hornet by the end of the trade deadline. Nick Claxton to the LA Lakers. He's probably the most viable good center that they can get that's selling. He's a good defender and he's a good shot blocker. And he's probably not going to cost too much because he's not really playing as much as he did last season because they are using Day'Ron Sharpe a lot more. And they probably want to get rid of his contract. He is getting paid a pretty good amount. And the Nets obviously want to lose games, and he does win them games sometimes. So I think they're going to get rid of him, and I think the LA Lakers critically need a center that can actually play good defense because they have DeAndre Ayton and they have Jackson Hayes, who are both pretty shit, both terrible defenders. And I think him not being as good of an offensive player as DeAndre Ayton is not as bad as DeAndre Ayton's defense. So I think they'll have him start if they get him. And another person I think that the LA Lakers are going to be interested in and probably obtain is Herb Jones. They've brutally needed perimeter defense for the last 2 seasons. And he's the perfect player. He has really good defense. He's very good on ball defensively. He's a good offensive player. He's not the best, but he's not like critically bad. And he's going to definitely get shed on the trade deadline. It's just a matter of who gets him. The New Orleans Pelicans don't need him anymore. They're obviously trying to get their younger players to be to get more minutes. He's winning them too many games. They're trying to shed. So I think they are going to trade him for who? I don't know. I don't know what the trade package would look like because LA Lakers don't really have too many picks. It would probably have to be Gabe Vincent and like Dalton Connect for Herb Jones. But I do think Herb Jones ends up as an LA Laker. Russell Westbrook traded. Now, I really like this trade. I think the Sacramento Kings want to get off of the Russell Westbrook money. He's not even being paid that much, but I think they want to get off of him personally because he's winning them too many games. He's actually really good this season. His three ball has been landing. He's averaging like 2.2 3-pointers a game. His rebounding is obviously the energy he plays with is winning them games. And even though they're at the bottom of the West, I do think they want to get off a lot of their players, including Sabonis, and a team that could really use him. There's only really two teams in the league that are desperate for the true point guard, and that's the Mavericks and the Rockets. And I think the Rockets are going to get another player I'll mention later. And that just leaves the Mavericks. If the Mavericks want to have a probably semi-decent season and probably make it into the play-in, they could get Russell Westbrook. Obviously, he's a good rebounder, he's a good passer, and his scoring is pretty good. And I think he'd fit this team really well. I think Russell Westbrook would be a really good Maverick. But I do think he gets traded this season, or this deadline. D'Angelo Russell is a terrible player. I don't want to talk about him too much. I think he's going to get traded back to the Nets. The Mavericks acquired him for cheap money as a backup point guard because Kyrie got injured, and he's completely lost all of his minutes, and he plays in garbage time now. So I think they want to get off of his contract and probably sign a better point guard, which I do believe will be Westbrook. Coby White traded to the Rockets. Now, as I was talking about earlier, I think Coby White is going to be traded to the Rockets for Dorian Finney-Smith. I think he's a good point guard, he's a good passer, and he's a good three-point shooter. And I think the scoring drought could be minimized with him because he is a good scorer. He averages like 22 points. If he's given the time, he'll probably be their point guard, I would assume. He'd start at point. And I think he would do fantastic on this team. He's been a Chicago Bull. He's been doing well as a Chicago Bull. He's obviously coming off of some injuries. And he's been in rumor talks for the last 3 years. And I think they're finally going to get off his contract. He doesn't have a massive contract. I think he's getting paid $12 to $14 million. And I think this is the time you get off. I think the Chicago Bulls are blowing it up. I think they're getting rid of a lot of their players. I think the only ones that are going to remain are like Giddey and Buzelis. And I think White ends up as a Rocket. Ayo Dosunmu is going to be a Raptor. He's another player that's getting paid, I think, over $10 million. And they're looking to shop. The Raptors desperately need three-point shooting. Ayo has good three-point shooting, and he's not a liability on the defensive side. And again, we need three-point shooting. He is a good three-point shooter. They're trying to shop him. I wonder who we would have to give up to get him. Probably Ochai. That's not even that bad of a loss. So I think Ayo gets traded to the Raptors. I'm sorry if I'm rushing through it. It's just I filmed this video before, and it got no audio. Jose Alvarado to the Knicks. Jose Alvarado is a current New Orleans Pelican. He's coming off the bench, and he's a great disturber on offense and defense. He's a pretty good shooter. He can initiate his own shot, and he can initiate other people's shot. And recently, the New York Knicks has been struggling massively with that. And I think they add bench depth with him. And obviously, again, the Pelicans don't need these players. So I think they're going to try and get a first-round pick or a few second-round picks for him, and probably some shitty players as like contract fillers. He's only getting paid $4 million, I believe. Really good contract for how good of a player he is. And for being a point guard, I think he would be a good backup point guard for even like a third string point guard for Tyler Kolek and Jalen Brunson. And again, he's a good defensive player. He's a good offensive player. He's a good passer. He's really improved that in his recent year, and he's having a career year. So I think he's going to be traded to the New York Knicks. Dalton Connect. So when I do this logo, it means I have no idea who is going to sign them or who they're going to be traded to. Dalton Connect is having a terrible year. He was getting shown up by Bronny James in the preseason and everyone else on the Lakers. He can't hit a three ball to save his life. He only plays in garbage minutes. He's completely fallen out of their rotation. And they've been trying to shop him. They should have shopped him for Mark Williams. It would have saved them a lot of trouble. But now that they have him, he's like a 26-year-old sophomore. They're trying to trade him. But I can see him being added in on like a Herb Jones contract, or maybe a contract to get Nick Claxton. He'd probably be on one of the tanking teams, New Orleans, the Nets, one of those two. But I do believe Dalton Connect will not be a Laker at the end of this year, at the end of this trade deadline. DeMar DeRozan will either be traded or bought out. They, again, as I said, I think the Kings are trying to get rid of all the big contracts. They're trying to shed money, trying to shed these contracts. And that is, again, DeMar. DeMar is getting paid the most money on that team. He's getting paid $45 million, I think. And for the amount of money he's playing, or for the amount of money they're paying, he's not a good player. They obviously don't want to win. And he is a good player, but they don't need him. But I don't think anyone else wants him currently. So I think he's going to be really hard to trade. So that's why I think they're going to buy him out. And yeah, he's going to not be a King at the end of this year. At the end of this, when I say end of the year, just realize it's the end of the trade deadline. Jakob Poeltl's definitely getting traded. He is a massive contract, very hard to trade. That's why he's still on the team. And he signed an extension. I think we're going to get rid of him because we need space for DeMontis. But again, I don't think he's going to be involved in that trade. Like, I don't think it's going to be a DeMontis for Jakob trade. So I think we're going to get rid of him. He's probably going to end up on fucking the Pelicans. Again, just one of the shit teams. The Jazz, no, the Jazz wouldn't do it. The Hornets, maybe. No, because they have Diabate. Who's a team that desperately needs a decent center? Yeah, fuck, maybe the Lakers take him, like someone. I don't know. But he is going to get traded. Now, moving on to the people I do not think are going to be traded. Oh, hold on, one more slide. I think Yabusele gets waived. He's having a terrible season with the Knicks. They've completely stopped using him. He's openly talked about how he does think he's not going to be re-signed, or he's going to be let go. And he's openly talked about how he wants to go to Israel and play for their league. And I do believe they're going to let him. I don't think the Knicks want him on their team anymore. They want to shed his contract. He's not even being paid that much, but he's being paid money for not playing. So I think they're going to get rid of him. So Yabusele's gone from the NBA. Now, on to the people I don't think are going to be traded. MPJ. MPJ is a great player. He's averaging 25 points a game. But I think the Nets don't want to trade him. I think they want him to be a part of their future. And I think they see a future with him. So I think they're actually going to withhold trading him, and I think they're going to keep him on his team. But I do think he'll mysteriously go down with an injury that will keep him from playing this year, because he is winning too many games. Jonathan Kuminga. I don't think there's a market for Kuminga, and I don't think they're going to be able to sell him, especially with the Butler injury. Who else is on that team? I don't know. Especially with the Butler injury, I think he's going to get more playing time. And I think he'll stay on the Golden State Warriors. He'll get more time. He'll probably be traded in the off-season. The only way I can see this trade being made is if he's in a Giannis deal, just as salary filler. or even like a Malik Monk to the Warriors deal, like the one that they were going to make in the offseason before. And talking about the Kings, I think they're going to have to keep LaVine. I think they would get rid of LaVine if they can. But I don't think anyone wants LaVine. I don't think anyone needs his style of play. And I don't think anyone wants his contract. He's getting paid $42 million a year for being an empty stats player. He doesn't result in winning. He has really off nights. And the only time he looks good, he drops 25 points a game against top 5 defenses, or top 5 worst defenses, and he drops down to like 12 points a game when he goes against the top 5. So he's clearly just empty stats against bad teams. And AD, I don't think the Mavericks are going to trade him due to the reception that with the Luka trade. And I don't think they're dumb enough to trade AD when his stock is at his lowest. I think they're going to wait for him to heal. He'll probably come back near the playoffs. I think they're going to let him heal up. I think he's going to raise his stock again, and I think they'll trade him in the offseason. Or they might just keep him because he is one of the best centers in the league. But I don't think he's going to get traded. So moving on to the actual biggest trade rumors and who I think is going to get traded, let's move on to the final two. Ja Morant's going to be traded to the Miami Heat. The JJJ trade confirmed this. He's not going to be a Grizzly within the next 2 days. He clearly doesn't care about the franchise anymore. He's clearly demotivated. The franchise clearly doesn't want him on the team. He's been phantom injured for a long time. He doesn't play very often. It's going to be a little tricky to trade him because of all of the injuries and how big his contract is. But I do believe a lot of people see the potential in getting him back to what he used to be. He's a phenomenal finisher. He's a great dunker. He's very popular. And he is still a good passer. He's a decent shot blocker, mainly from behind. But other than that, he's a terrible three-point shooter, so I don't really see him going to a team that needs three-point shooting. I don't see him going to the Raptors. The only teams that I could see him going to is a team that needs a point guard. So the Grizzlies are going to probably trade him for, a couple young players, because they just traded JJJ, so they don't want win-now players, so who they probably get, if they want the Heat, which I do believe, they'll trade Kel'el Ware, maybe Tyler Hero, and some picks, and I think that's enough to get Ja Morant. His stock is at an all-time low. The public reception for him is that he's not a good point guard anymore, and I do believe if anyone will be able to get that mojo back, it will be Pat Riley in the Miami Heat franchise. I think we'll get a revigorated Ja Morant. Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to get traded to the Timberwolves. Timberwolves are shedding contracts. They are trying to make cap space, and they're aggressively going for him. And I do believe they'll get him. Him and an Ant backcourt is going to be pretty interesting. And I don't know who they're going to trade. They're probably going to have to trade Randall, definitely. And probably Naz Reid, which is going to be weird because they're going to have trouble at the three-point line. But it's whatever. I think they'll get that deal done, and I think it will be done before the deadline ends. I don't think they're going to wait for the offseason. I think the Bucks are going to respect Giannis's wishes that he wants to go now. He wants to be on a team this year that can win a championship. And I don't think they're going to hold him hostage for a year. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys different opinion, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.